Good morning and God bless. Let's get back to the basics today. The fundamentals of the Do-You rules. Let's work. Actually, we on Raw 4. Today we talk about the king of the cliffhangers. Why you never finish the thing. You're not being tested by God. You're being haunted by the version of you that never closes the loop. I feel like I'm there right now. Here's your warning. There's unfinished business detected. This doctrine exposes chronic pause syndrome, emotional loopholes, and covenant delay by design. If you've been addicted to the idea of the thing, but allergic to the follow through, if you've been writing great starts and praying through soft stops, you may be infected by cliffhanger consciousness. That was actually a great movie. I can see Sylvester Stallone right now hanging, just hanging. Side effects may include chronic fatigue from too many open loops, false confidence from announcing things you never finish, nervous system confusion from partial obedience, and spiritual resentment toward a God you never fully agreed with. Man, I got into a debate in the comments section about God yesterday. Welcome to Raw 4 Epoch 2, day 151. Or is it 152? I think it's 152. Today we expose the high-functioning dysfunction of people who look like leaders but live in cliffhangers. High-functioning dysfunction. I like that. Here's our concept overview. Let's tell the truth. Some of us are excellent at momentum. We're brilliant at building beginnings. We love the vision. We crave the pressure. We sprint into the thing with fire. But we never finish it. We leave things hanging. The call we were supposed to make. The book we were supposed to write. Businesses we were supposed to start or continue. The rhythm we were supposed to maintain, the vow we were supposed to keep. Why? Because finishing requires more than excitement. Finishing requires covenant. And cliffhangers, they aren't just bad habits, they are proof, not proof, that your system is addicted to emotional suspense. You're not building. You're baiting yourself. You like the chase. You hate the completion because if you finish, you're finally accountable for what you created. Here's what you learn. Why your nervous system attaches to suspense instead of stability. How spiritual cliffhangers create emotional cortisol addiction. Why announcing is often a substitute for obedience. The real reason you don't finish, it's not fear, it's identity conflict. Ooh, I can relate right now. How to sever the loop and close the scroll with finality. That's right. We have to bring it all to a close. Here's our visual metaphor for the day on this lovely, blessed Sunday. Imagine a movie you love. Fire intro, incredible buildup. The tension is rising. Now you're on the edge of your seat. Then the screen goes black. To be continued. Yeah, that works in entertainment. It does not work in real life. Because you are not a viewer. You are the screenwriter, the director, and the actor. Congratulations, you've been promoted. Every time you leave a scroll unfinished, every time you walk away mid-build, you teach your soul that almost is enough. And now almost starts showing up everywhere else. In your marriage, in your habits, in your walk with God. Because you don't just live cliffhangers. You become one. Consciously, you are addicted to the almost. Let's get into my personal perspective. This is the quit that still breathes. I'm not judging because I'm still trying to get over that almost me. I used to joke that I was the king of almosts. Almost a rapper. Yeah, I lived that life for a little while. Almost an athlete, almost an author. Always the potential, never the finish line. But I've learned jokes like that ain't comedy. They're confessions wrapped in a laugh track. Truth is, I didn't fail at those dreams. Hear me out. I didn't fail. I paused. But pause long enough and it becomes a full stop. And full stops don't come with closure, they just hang there like ghosts of you who could have been. And what's crazy is I got love from people in those lanes, cosigns, credentials. You got it, but you just ain't ripe yet. That's what they would tell me. And instead of letting that ripen me, I let it rot me. I couldn't handle being seen as almost ready. So I ghosted my own gifts. Music, sports, the book. I left them in midair without a funeral. But here's the paradox. The one lane I never chose, which is information technology, my current profession. The one lane I never dreamed about was the lane I dominated. Top 5% salary, no degree. Stacked certs, learned on the fly. I became the room, then outgrew the room, then walked out the room like it was always mine. What's the difference? Many things, many nuanced, many micro things, but let's think about it. It's not talent, it's authorship. The difference in IT, I just kept showing up. And as I kept showing up, I saw the delta between where I was and where I needed to be. I knew where I was at. I knew where I wanted to go. There's a gap. I built the bridge. I got the certs, communication, presence, pressure, repeat. I used my charm like code, talked geek in a suit, harder than you think. Talked corporate on the block. I knew how to speak power in every room. And the deeper I got, the more I realized the difference wasn't passion. It was pressure. I let pressure grow me here in my professional space. I welcomed it. I owned it. I leveraged it. Back then, I let pressure fold me. And maybe that's you too. Maybe you're still calling your quit a pause, still telling yourself the mic is just on mute, still staring at a dream that don't even know your face no more. But hear me out. It only hurts this much because your gift remembers you. And I remember mine. So there's no choice but to move different. I don't let pause play me anymore. I got my mic back. My scroll is open. My God is loud. And my soul is on beat. No more almost. Only authored. Let's let that marinate and check the chat real quick. I'm here right now with you in this space. I swear I'm at the almost phase. I can sense it. I could sense it because of how many times I've been here. The significance of why I wanted to write this personal perspective and get a little somewhat granular is that, as I've said countless times, as you continue to grow and age out, there are certain things you just can't get back. There are certain dreams that they closed because you hit that pause button. Understand, you paused on it. You never gave it everything you could have given it. You never gave it anything that, if you want to use the word should have, that you should have. How do you know this? You feel it. And some of those dreams, like I can't be an athlete anymore. That's done. 43, no shot. That hurts. The music thing, long gone. I paused like, yo, my daughter was being born. I got to refocus. I got to go pivot into that's really what got me to focus on my career. I didn't have to pause, stop, and quit. I didn't realize that till after I used some reflection, and you start to think back 5, 10, 15 years, and you quit on yourself. You have to, that's what I talk about with the funeral. You have to come to that conscious realization. You have to begin to accept that. Why? It gives you the understanding that you can quit and you're not going to want to quit again. How could you? How could you rationalize with yourself, come to real conscious realization, look yourself in the face and be like, yo, you quit, dog. And you'll never get it back. That's the pain. You quit, you quit. You quit, you'll never get it back. Don't do it to yourself like that again. All of us have had to have been through something like that in our lifetimes. A lot of us, I've been in the professional space for 20 plus years. I've had countless conversations. You don't know how many times we've been in a technology transition, and sometimes I'm on a bridge overnight for 12, 16 hours, beginning at like 7 o'clock at night, all the way to like noon the next day when everything's kind of quiet. You do that deliberately because you don't want to cause disruption. You make your changes off hours. People start releasing and revealing themselves. You spend a lot of intimate time together. There's nothing to do. You like watching paint dry. You're letting systems update. That takes time. My point being, you start hearing people release their soul. I never thought this would be me on a bridge. I thought I was going to do. And when you talk like that, when you speak like that, you, without realizing also you've accepted quitting, you're fronting like you didn't. You're trying to mask it. You submit through acceptance of something lesser than you want for yourself. There's nothing wrong with the gig. I've done beautiful things in my space, taught me a lot. It's at some juncture, the reality of, am I going to continue to persist down this path? If I am, cool. There's certain things I should be doing. I certainly shouldn't be on the mic. But if I'm not, because I have a calling, a yearning, a desire, a deep urge to fulfill something deeper for myself, then I'm going to grab the mic. I'm going to speak. I can't quit at the almost point. I'm in that almost point. And I don't know how long I'm going to be in this almost point. God is just like, yo, you got to just continue to be patient. I'm not giving you a date on when you're going to see exactly what you think you're going to see. I'm not even telling you you're going to see exactly what you think you're seeing. It's the same with the book, same with the dream, same with the business, same with where you're at, wherever you're at. It might be a career. You might be looking to get into the executive level, boardroom, C-suite. You might be thinking that's what you want, and something got you paused. I hated the idea of going back to try, again, no degree. You got to get this. I went for some certs. Those certs hurt. You know what I've learned when I educate myself through books and things like that? When you apply it in the actual field, you're like, yo, everything I learned in the book, it doesn't apply here. It's standard templated language. It's just overview and perspective for what you're getting into. Real world is very different. I hated to realize that. I did like a year, and I was like, yo, there's nothing here. There's nothing here that can serve me. The certs work. Having to get that certification, it gives you some sense of authority in the space. People see it and they're like, oh, wow, you got this. That means you must know something. But you may have to get those things and not really want to get those things. That's part of the reason why I had to be clear and conscious on my pivot. Yo, if you want to stay in the corporate space, you probably got to get your degree. You probably going to want to get a master's. You probably want to get something that certifies you at a higher level. For me, I'm looking at a decade's worth of work, which is brilliant. I could be at a C-suite level in 10 years. I'll be in my early 50s. That's about right. That's cool. That's a good space. That's a good march. That's a good beat to sort of follow. I could also put 10 years here in the U.U rules and see what happens. It still takes work. I still got to get up at a certain time. I still got to pray at a certain time. I still got to have belief. I still got to read and educate myself. I still have to author my script. So either way, I'm in the middle of almost. You're going to almost keep doing what you've been doing for 20 years. You're going to almost keep doing what you've only been doing for a couple of years. You're going to tap out. You're going to stay in the middle. That's the cliffhanger. And in and around this cliffhanger reality, you're producing because you're mostly distracted. We don't want to align what we do with distractions, right? We are we're living. We're living. We're paying bills. We're clocking in. We're clocking out. We're authoring relationships. We're still doing some authoring. It's just we're stuck between where we're currently at and what got us here, what we might be able to see, what we might be endeavoring out for, what we might be dreaming and praying of. We can't find a way to author that path. Likely because everything we're doing here doesn't give us that much time. We got a compound interest, right? You got to stack. That's why I say part of the debate I had yesterday, dude was questioning me about God. How did you find God? I started with 20 minutes a day, every day praying. Oh, that's confirmation bias. Whatever. Here's the truth too. You stack 20 minutes a day every day for 5, 6, 7 years. It takes you places. And when you're already committed to a certain lifestyle, the pivot towards the other, I get it. But you could keep doing what you're doing here and never give yourself time for what you want here. And then you don't have to wonder why you never get what you wonder about here. It'll just be a dream. But I know all of us do this. We start it, we get inspired, we get hyped, we get motivated, we get a little traction. We get a little traction. We get a little prayer that's answered. And then almost becomes good enough. And all that occurs is it might take another 5 years, it might take a decade before you restart that again. If you want to line this up with everything I've done, it's along the same path. I've been striving towards a level of entrepreneurship for quite some time, pretty much my entire life. I thought about many things. I used to want to, the DVDs were big. I thought my grandfather always owned a bodega, a corner store. And that inspired me to be like, yo, I could do this. He owned it, so at least it's his own hours, his own script. That's authorship, right? Still takes a lot of work. He was still in there for countless hours. You're going to put the 12 to 16 anyway if you're a committed professional. Why not put it on yourself? So I'm at that inflection point. So I'm with you if you're getting this, if this is making it to you. And God is not, again, going silent. God is performing surgery. God is like, okay, imagine too, that you're somewhere in the book, getting the certs, getting the degree, getting the business, moving the business. You have some traction. And so God is seeing, or universe, the consciousness, creation, life, how it works, the synchronicity. Oh, wow, this person has been on it for like 3, 4, 5 years, right? So now what you're seeing is pulling itself towards you. It's just that while God is doing the surgery, you got to give time for everything else to catch up. It's starting to bend towards you. It's starting to pull towards you, your frequency. You're pulling it consciously. It's working for you. But you've put so much work in here. We talk about this regularly. You're stuck in that almost phase. It's not that you have to put in different work. You got to put more of the same work. And repeating that regularly becomes mundane, becomes difficult. It's like just sitting still for a while, right? That's why we practice stillness. You have moments where you forget the pain. You can't feel your back screaming at you. You just finished doing whatever you did to you. You're not getting enough sleep. You're putting in the work on your body. Sometimes things are screaming at you. Sometimes you can look past it. Sometimes you forget it. Sometimes you have a great prayer session. Sometimes I meditate and 20, 30 minutes passes. I'm like, wow, that was beautiful. Sometimes 10 minutes, I'm like, yo, I need to get up. That's just it. That's just the way it works. But the almost will kill you every time. All right. Let's get into the black book insert, the loop that never closed. Let's call it what it is. Cliffhanger consciousness isn't just bad behavior. It's not really bad when you think about it. It's not even wrong. It just is. It's neural suspense addiction. You train your brains to fall in love with the idea of obedience, but never build the muscle to finish. You see what I'm saying? You think it, you feel it, you might even start it, you don't follow through. In that way, you atrophy. There's no hypertrophy, right? There's no growth. Here's how it works. Your system, subconsciously gets a dopamine rush just from announcing the thing. Yo, if there's anything I talk about that I've learned, if you look at patterns of people, there are some people you speak to, and I have very close people. You know me by now, you know I only speak to a certain amount of people. So I pick up very, very tightly and consciously on the way that people are operating and flowing. It helps me too because I like to know where they're at. I like to know what they're thinking. I like to know what they're feeling. I like to know how I can help them. But imagine being at a career where for like years now, you feel taken advantage of. You feel like you're putting in a lot of output and you're not being valued. This is very common in my age group, in my demographic, for the type of people I'm surrounded by professionally, right? Somewhere in your early 40s, and you're getting levels, director levels, senior director levels, some are even VPs, right? And you're putting a lot of time. You got a lot of collateral built up. And I've been speaking to a certain somebody who's been quitting their job that where they're at for like the last 3-4 years. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm leaving. Applied to a couple jobs. Talk to a bunch of people, even inside. Yo, I did this before. Sometimes you could use it tactically as a play. You start putting it out there. If the company values you enough, somebody will step in front and say, yo, what's the problem? You need more money? You need a little bonus? There's retention. My point being, you announce it, you speak about it, you talk about it. Your mind consciously, when you announce it, you get a rush. You also get like a completion from it. Listen to people, and then 10 years passes, you're in the same job. Like, yo, what happened? This happens to great people, wonderful people, beautifully blessed people. You just get caught in this loop. One of my first messages, stop talking it. Don't say nothing about it. You came to the conclusion, I gotta go. That's it, done, sealed. Go through the process of leaving. And the process of leaving is not calling all your closest friends to say, yo, I'm leaving. Yo, I'm leaving. Send a text. Yo, I'm leaving. Start a group chat. Yo, I'm leaving. And then you go through the emotional high. And then what happens too is people are they're clapping for you. They're affirming you. They're giving you all the hype. You know how you know I love you? Because I'm like, yo, stop telling me you're leaving. Stop telling me when you're leaving. Tell me when you left. I want to know when you got the thing. And if you need to use me as a reference, call me. I don't want to keep hearing that you're leaving. I'm going to start the business. I'm going to start the business. I'm going to keep the business. I'm going to push the business. I'm going to post the content. What happens? You get hyped off that. The announcement gives you a dopamine rush. Your emotional loop then ties suspense to identity. You feel important as long as the loop is still open. Hear me on this consciously. You're shooting yourself full of emotional cocktails. So the suspense of it, the idea of it creates an identity for you that's addicting. That's why I say you feel important as long as that loop is still open. As long as I'm still telling people, I'm going to leave, I'm going to leave, I'm going to leave, I'm going to leave. Some of us are complaining about the same relationship with the same people that we can't seem to figure it out with, thinking that it's going to change somehow. I hear that all the time too. I'm done with this dude. I'm done with this with this lady. And in 6 months, they're still with the same dude. They're still with the same lady. And in 6 months, they're done. Look at it. You're like, yo, you're killing yourself. You really are. But you're addicted to the suspense of creating the opportunity, but never following through. So the longer it's open, the more you romanticize the vision. You're romanticizing the vision and the experience. You're addicted, you're high, like, ooh, I'm leaving. And you see it, but you never complete it. And then the reality, actually following through, it feels like a downgrade. Why? Because you applied to a couple of places and got rejected. Or you stopped talking to this person for a little while and you're looking for a new commitment. You can't quite find it, so you default back. Because the pain of growth feels like a downgrade because you can't complete the process. And you keep praying and keep wondering. And God is like, continue to follow through. Continue to put in the work. Find something else to focus on. You already found what you want to do. You already see it. Don't stop walking that path. You chose the path, you walk it, and then you pivot first chance you get as soon as it feels a little uncomfortable. Why? Because closing it would require commitment, and commitment exposes your fear of failure. So you pause, and pause becomes pattern, and the pattern becomes you. You're not just tired, you're overburdened by emotional tabs you never closed. It's like a phone with 43 apps running in the background. You're burning out from what you never finished. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? You're doing this to yourself. You haven't processed it consciously. That's why my debate with this dude about who is God and what is God. I'm like, are you crazy? I can't even give God a definition because it will be too small. It's infinite. God is massive, right? Your potential, your consciousness, your ability to create for yourself, that meta programming circuit that I read about that I'm trying to help understand even deeper, to try to help express to you. The ability to create and reprogram yourself is massive. It's infinite. But you just keep opening and closing and opening and closing, or not even closing, opening and letting burn the same process over and over. You're burning out from never having finished. You might as well burn yourself out from finishing. And what's wild is this. Your spirit doesn't rest just because you stop moving. It keeps pulling at you. Every scroll you never closed is a line of code still running in your soul. So let's real quick talk neuroscience, spirit, and pattern in plain, simplistic, real terms. When you spark a vision, your mind lights up, specifically the region tied to clarity and imagination. So yeah, you think of something, right? You see it. That's imagination, dog. I'm leaving. What am I going to do when I leave? I got to be starting something new. You see the new thing. You envision the new environment, the new boss, or becoming the new boss. All these things that come with the newness. It's all in you see it clearly. You imagine it. But without forward momentum, your brain registers that as a false alarm. It essentially calls you a fraud, dog. So you light up, you get hype. Your brain is like, ooh, it gives you all the motivation, the inspiration. It feeds you, right? And when you don't do it, your brain is like, wait a minute. I gave you all that to do what? You didn't follow through. The height of what we got to was just thinking about it and dreaming it, imagining it. False alarm. And now the emotional system, your internal security guard, it starts to tag ambition as a threat. That is right. That is clear. This is what I'm saying to you. Your soul gets scared of your own light. Do you hear what you're doing to yourself? Your soul is scared of your imagination, your light, what inspires you. So when your soul gets scared of what's possible, when your soul gets scared of your vision, your ambition, your dream, what God dropped into you, your brain, it starts rewarding your hesitation. You get dopamine from stalling. Why? Because staying feels safe. But safe becomes stagnant, and stagnant becomes spiritual atrophy. That's the loop. That's the possession. That's why a new idea feels electric until you short-circuit it with delay. You start ghosting your own gifts. You start pacing around the same promise. You start calling fear strategy and calling quitting wisdom. Hear me. None of us want to confront the reality that pause is stopping, stopping is delaying, delaying is quitting. And you rationalize, oh, I got my daughter, I did it, I got my daughter, I got to focus here. I don't have time for this right now. Not right now. I'll go back to it. And you never get back to it. And you feel like, well, I've made a good pivot and I had to do what I had to do, because you got to do what you got to do anyway. It's just which one you're going to quit on. You're going to be fearful and follow the path that likely somebody programmed into you. You're going to let somebody else put a lease on your spirit. Or you, and that's scary, right? It feels more secure. Or you're going to start moving for yourself, programming yourself, author your own chapters and verse, and take that scary road anyway. This isn't about intellect. It really is not about intellect. I mean, some of it is. You might want to broaden your scope. Don't just listen to Cliche Jeff. Go fact check me. Go do some research on your own soul. Because this is about the soul stuck in an unclosed loop. You either finish the loop or the loop finishes you. There's consequences. Where you at, chat? The ghost that follows you. You already know the first consequence. Living with the almost. The pain of what could have been is heavier than failure because it never had a funeral. You hear what I'm saying? It just lingers forever. You might think, yo, the way that you rationalized it, your soul knows, man. Consciousness knows. And it has a funny way of reminding you. Just close it. Close the part of you that didn't make it. Tell yourself you quit. And then tell yourself you're never going to quit again. Otherwise, it lingers forever. And in the same way, because you've come to that realization, you'll remember it forever. You'll remember the day that you called yourself a quitter. You're a quitter. Say it to yourself. I did it. Look in the mirror. You quit, dog. You quit on me. You quit on you. See how that feels. And then stay there and look at yourself and accept yourself as a quitter. No human that is born from my perspective of God, that has spirit, that has the power of possibility of life still available to them, will be able to accept themselves as a quitter and stay a quitter. You can't. You won't. I have too much faith in the human spirit. It's just you don't look at yourself and say you're a quitter. You say, I got to stop, because you give yourself excuses. That's why we talk about not giving excuses. Do it. I quit. Because worse than that, we're talking about consequences. You train your nervous system that suspense is safety, which means you build momentum but can't sustain rhythm. This is significant. Why? All you've learned consciously is how to start and stop. So that is your rhythm. You can't get past that. You light fires but can't hold heat. You keep collecting almosts like trophies of delay. How about this, yo? You dominate rooms you don't even love because you're too scared to fail in the one you were made for. And worst of all, you teach your spirit to settle and it stops speaking. Here's how to lock daily remembrance after you've told yourself and confessed to yourself that you are a quitter. Every morning, write the one move that would unpause your loop. Set a 30-minute mic on window where you do, and you execute and execute and execute, not just dream. So you want the new job? For 30 minutes, apply to new job. Don't block out everything. 30 minutes, apply to a new job. You're looking for that certification, that knowledge? 30 minutes, just read that book. Get a pen and paper, write down what you wrote, or write down what you've learned that was most significant. That's your mic on window where you do. You already dreamed, you already thought it, you already saw it. Now do it. You're changing your body? Go walk for 30 minutes. Go run for 30 minutes. Go lift for 30 minutes. Go pray for 30 minutes. Sit still for 30 minutes and listen. Stop announcing. Stop announcing. Don't tell no one anything. Just you and God. Start architecting. If it is real, if it's really real, you won't need applause to keep going. Do you hear what I'm saying, man? That's why I have so much faith about my almost. No one needs to celebrate you doing you. And when no one needs to celebrate you doing you, there's nothing to worry about. If it is real, you just keep living. You just keep going. You just keep executing. Then you want to audit your open loops. What emotional tabs are still open? What projects never got closed? What habits still dangle? Be honest with yourself. Then replace the rush. Train yourself to get high on completion, not contemplation. Finish one thing daily, doesn't matter how small. Train your nervous system that you are a closer. That's so important. I believe in timers. You want to sit still for 15 minutes or sit still, set a 15-minute timer. You want to meditate, set a 15-minute timer. So when it buzzes, when it goes off, you get you'll feel it. Oh, I completed that. I did it. Then you reflect on the day and you start building little micro movements like that. I said I would read for 30 minutes. I read. Boom, timer went off. Oh, shit, I completed that. I prayed. Oh, I completed that. I gave myself an hour today. I completed exactly what I said I was going to complete. Doesn't matter how small. This is training your nervous system, how you respond, how you chemically reward yourself, your dopamine, your pleasures, all of that. You're teaching yourself that you are a closer. Then you want to speak last, not first. Let your actions be the opening statement. Let results be your mic drop. When you get the new job, then announce it. Yo, I was so tired. I was so fed up. I wanted to tell you, but I had to go do my thing. Let's get into our phone tap for the day, our audit remix re-record. You got the call. Now move like it's recorded. You know we start with an audit. Do this today. Remember when you paused but never admitted you quit. I already told you about I gave that away early. You never admitted you quit. Now name the scroll, honor the ghost, close the tab. You got to close that version of you. You got to give it a proper burial. You got to say goodbye. Put it to sleep. And honor it. Yo, I did you dirty, dog. We could have been. Go through the whole... Yo, man, if only I would have, if only I would have, if only I would have stayed on that path. Go through it. You were dope. You had so much potential. Man, and even look at other people in the space and imagine that was you for a little while. That could have been me. It could have been you. It could have. That's the part that hurts. That's the part you don't want to acknowledge, right? That could have been you. You look back at and you're like, man, if I'd have just stayed working out for the last 10 years, I'd be different. If I would have kept learning that knowledge for the last 10 years, I'd be different. If I would have stayed in school, I'd be different. Yes, all of that is real. All of it is true. Honor it. And then say goodnight. I quit. I can't quit no more. Then you want a remix. Here's our thought identity. You might be thinking, I need more time. I'm waiting on God. It's not the right season. These are small tactics masked as spiritual discernment. Recode them. Say this. I'm not waiting on God. God's waiting on me. Then you want to re-record. Take some action. Pick one thing today. One thing today and finish it. It doesn't matter if it's small. Maybe there is somebody you got to text. Finish the text. Finish the rep. Finish the prayer. Finish the document. Then stand up, look yourself in the mirror and say, I don't live in cliffhangers anymore. All right. My beautiful people, every story that ever changed the world had a last page. Every miracle that ever landed on earth had a close. So don't just speak in faith. Finish in faith. Don't just get high on the idea of the scroll. Seal the scroll. You ain't waiting on God. God already spoke. This is your final line. Don't leave it hanging. Finish the thing. Own it or be owned by it. You either run the system or the system runs you. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.